What does this first game mean in a season when you could get him a couple more times?
Well, I mean, you know, we're both sitting in first place right now in the league, so obviously the winner's going to have an advantage on our league, and then it's going to be a good gauge of where we are, where they are. You know, you can watch things on film as much as you want, but until you get the opportunity to see them in person, that's when you can really find out, okay, what do we have to do after the game? You know, you win, you lose. There's still things you're going to have to work on, things that went well for you, things that did not. So it's more of a gauge right now, I think. But you know, our kids are excited to play. It's a game that we're going up there to win. So we're going to have a 40-minute effort from everyone.
You mentioned, or Sarah mentioned, unfinished business from the title game. Do you sense that in the players, that there's a little bit more something there?
Well, you know what? I'm not going to go back to that game or the year or an 09, whatever. I mean, this is a new team. You know, it's a different group of players, a lot of the same, but then you add Tia Gibbs to it, you add Imani, you add Asia back. So we have to take care of ourselves. You know, I'm not a big believer in let's use what happened last year to help us. You know, you've got to be ready to play, and I do believe we are. It's going to be a great test for us because we're going to have to play for 40 minutes. This is a team that if you have a breakdown, they're going to take advantage of it.
Is that been what's kind of held you up? I mean, you had a couple games with them that have been close for maybe 35 minutes or so. Yeah. It's just that one little segment.
That's what it is. I mean, they're a team, and we've showed them on film. When you have a breakdown, they're going to take advantage of it. If you force up a shot quick in the shot clock, that's a transition basket for them. You know, you've got to make them defend. You've got to get back on defense. You've got to try to make them score in the half court. They're a team that loves to get up and down the floor and score in transition. We're going to run when the opportunity's there, but when it's not, we've got to make them defend. We have to run through our stuff and make sure we execute.
Is Bria definitely not playing?
She is not playing.
What does that mean? Not having?
Well, I mean, it's just you know, it's a loss on the defensive end of the ball for sure. She's probably our best driver, most athletic guard we have. But you know, you just roll. We can't do anything about it. We're just trying to make sure she gets healthy. Hopefully, she might be back in 5-6 days, depending on how things go. But we want to make sure she's ready to play and healthy for the stretch run.
Start Tia or do you?
We'll start the same five we started at Central Florida. Tia and Shoney and Slaughter at the guard spot.
Seems like a lot of talking about getting UConn and foul trouble is the key to beating. How much will you hope the refs keep calling it as tight as they have?
Well, they've done a great job all year of not getting in much foul trouble. They do a very good job defending. They're playing more zone this year than they have in the past. We're going to try to attack them. They're just not a ball club you really want to try to drive into the paint a bunch with because they block so many shots. We're going to have to take a lot of mid-range jump shots, but we will use ball screens. And when we come off a ball screen, we have to look to go at them. And if you're going to get them in foul trouble, that's where it would have to be.
Sarah talked about the fact that she feels like UConn's opponents kind of lose their focus when they get behind. You guys, on the other hand, have been behind a handful of times this season. How much does that kind of help in terms of confidence heading into this game that if you do get behind, you can go back?
Well, it's one where we talk with our players about we have to do a much better job when we do get behind of not forgetting we can defend even if the ball's not going in. And that's something that we have continued to do all season. But it's going to be a game of runs. I mean, they're going to go on some runs. We have to weather that storm, then go on a run ourselves. And then we've got to be consistent, taking care of the basketball, and then consistent on the defensive end.
Asia said she thought this is the best chance you all have to beat them, the best prepared you all to be, the best team you have to beat them. Do you agree with that?
I think, this is probably our best team that we've had. At the same time, I think it's probably their best starting five that they've had in the 7 years that I've been here. They don't have the depth that they've had in the past, but those starting five are awfully good.
How much is that an advantage for you all that you guys can play 10 players?
Well, it's a real big advantage. You know, it really depends on how the game is being called, what the officials are going to call and what they aren't. If it's a game where they're calling it tight and there's foul troubles for both teams, it's a big advantage for us. If not, I mean, if he can just play his 5 for 40 minutes, it's not a big advantage.
You feel like your depth is the thing that can really give you all a good chance against them?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, you know, again, it's just depending on what whistle is going to be blowing on Sunday. You know, we've had some games where it's being officiated extremely tight, which is fine. You know, our players have to adjust. And then we played at Central Florida where it was not. So if it's a game where they allow both teams to play, it kind of goes into their advantage because of the fact they don't have much depth. If it's a game that's called tight and then there's foul trouble, the depth is our advantage for sure.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, everybody.